Okay guys, this is the first time I'm recording one of these videos, so bear with me. I'm going to start to do a few of these looking at more specifically answering questions, and these are things that you can keep coming back to if you feel like you've missed something in class or you are struggling a little bit with a particular question. This is the sort of question that could definitely come up in your upcoming SAC. We're going to go through quickly and decode the question before we look at how we do up our T-chart plan. All right. Making reference to a relevant High Court decision, discuss how the interpretation of Section 7 and 24 of the Constitution were significant in the protection of Australian citizens' rights. Okay, so we know that we've looked at three main High Court cases in this course, and we're going to have to mention one of these, so we're either going to be looking at Brisbane, Roach, or Tasmanian dams. Okay. However, I know it's going to be Roach because of here, Section 7 and 24. Okay, so I'm going to cross this out. There we go. Cross this out. I'm just going to write Roach. Okay, so I know I'm going to talk about the Roach case. Here, my task word is discuss. So I know it's going to be both sides. It's my first time using this tablet too. This is quite fun. Okay, and this word significance means, what am I discussing? I'm discussing the significance, not just generally, but the significance in terms of protecting Australian citizens' rights. When I think about Roach, the core right involved here was the right to vote and whether or not it was protected under the Australian Constitution. So I'm going to just underline here and just a little note to myself, right to vote. Okay, 6 marks, so that means I'm going to have 9 minutes. Yep, and it means I'm going to want sort of 4 substantive points. 4 points that I've supported with detail. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw up my T-chart. I'm not seeing heaps of people do this when they're prepping their answers. But it's really, really important, because what I am seeing is people getting bogged down in the facts a little bit too much. So you can tell me all about Roach and what happened and she was a prisoner, etc. But all I want to know in this question is, how significant was it in the protection of the right to vote in Australia? Since it's 6 marks, 4 points, so might have a couple or 3 on this side and 1 on the other side potentially. So we'll just flick to the next slide. All right. Okay, I'll just adjust that across. Brilliant. All right. So first of all, I know that Roach is significant because in their interpretation of Section 7 and 24, the High Court found that the Constitution mandates a system of representative government. Okay. Because of the language in Section 7 and 24, directly chosen by the people. Okay. A lot of rights beyond the right to vote flow on from this system of representative government. So this is a valid point to make in itself. But I want to make another point about the significance here. Okay. In that, what they found is that this system of representative government, the structure of the Constitution, protected the right to vote. So the right to vote is protected by the structure of the Constitution. So the Constitution establishes that there is going to be an upper and lower house, and both are going to be directly chosen by the people. This establishes a right to vote in Australia, and this is the first time the High Court had made a specific comment regarding the right to vote under Section 7 and 24. in Australia. So that is really significant, okay? And that's really nicely linking back to your rights as well. However, I'm bouncing over to number 3. We know in the Roach case that at the end of that process, Vicky Lee Roach was still not able to actually vote herself. Why? Because the First Amendment, which said that prisoners serving a prison term of over 3 years are not allowed to vote, that was allowed. So Parliament is still able to place some limitations or to restrict who votes to some extent. Okay, so you can argue there that, look, yes, the High Court said that there is a right to vote protected by the structure of the Constitution. However, Parliament still has the ability to restrict who votes. You can talk about that First Amendment. If you've gone ahead and done some extra research, you could also talk about the Murphy case, where the High Court said that allowing for the, I think it was the efficient management, or the efficient management of elections, that is reason enough to bring in some restrictions on who can vote. That's the Murphy case, extra reading for people who are interested. Nonetheless, so I'm going to bounce back here to why it was significant. Parliament can only place restrictions if they can give a substantial reason. So Parliament requires a substantial reason to restrict who can vote, or to place any restriction on the right to vote. Obviously, this is confirmed by the fact that the 2006 amendment was ruled invalid in the Roach case, but also then in a further case, the High Court confirmed this in Rowan Electoral Commissioner, where they had placed restrictions on the time limit within which individuals could enrol to vote. So that restricted who could vote. If you want to do really well at a question like this, students who are getting 6 out of 6 have gone ahead and taken a look at the flow-on cases from this that looked at the precedent in Roach and applied it. Nonetheless, if you haven't, you can still get yourself a 4 just by knowing that, look, it established a system of representative government, interpreted these words in the section 7 and 24 of the Constitution, therefore established that there was a right to vote protected by the Constitution. However, Parliament was still able to restrict who votes. So this is why it's less significant in terms of protecting the right to vote. All right. Looking forward to seeing some of your answers on this. If there are any other questions, let me know. Good luck.